Hey guys, Marsinger here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so coming tomorrow on Global, we have the EZA for the physical Beerus. I will obviously be live streaming this EZA when it comes out, so do come check it out on the stream. There hasn't been a huge amount of buzz about his release, but I remember a lot of people on JP talking about just how good this guy was when his EZA actually came out. So we're going to be very interested to see him in action. If you're collecting the orbs of him, he has a ton of damage reduction. And obviously he does change orbs to rainbow against Realm of Gods enemies. So that's going to be very interesting for the Dismal Future Red Zone, where obviously the last few stages are all against Realm of Gods enemies. So if you go up against like Fusion Zamasu, for example, if you're picking up all the orbs, it's reduced damage received before attacking, right? So if you can get the 7 orbs with him, he has, what is it, 70% damage? Yeah, 70% damage reduction. So he will tank the Fusion Tomasu's AoEs probably for double digits, because he's already got type advantage as well. So he should be looking pretty good. I'm very much looking forward to actually trying him out. So we're going to do the team building guide here for his EZA. It's a typical 30 stage EZA. Unfortunately, still got to have those for the non-LRs. So 30 stages to get all of the medals. There is a mission for doing them within like the time limit on stage 10 and 20, and then doing it with the Power of Wishes character, which, I mean, the weakness category is Power of Wishes, so that's the team that we're going to be building. Int units start doing no damage pretty much straight away. And then once we get to stage 13, AGL and Int units do 80% reduced damage. So ideally you don't want to be using any AGL or Int units, and yes, unless you're like having to use them for the leader skill and stuff like that. Because obviously there's one option that I think would make a good lead for the team, even though he won't be doing really any damage. But we'll obviously discuss that as we go. And then, of course, you can keep doing the extra stages if you want to get the extra Zenny statues. But yeah, just the 30 stages. Good old 30 stage EZAs usually take an hour to complete unless you're really speeding through. I know when we're on stream it's a little bit slower because of interacting with the chat and stuff, but definitely a less tedious way to have to go through doing all those stages. So let us jump in and take a look at the Power of Wishes category. It's actually a relatively small category compared to some of the other ones, but obviously there are some very powerful options in here, including, I mean, you can see the main leaders are the 8th anniversary LRs, right? So as always with my team building guides, I'm going to go through my top picks and honorable mentions for the best units to build a team for this Extreme Z battle. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If there's any units that I miss out or you think I should have talked more about, do feel free to let me know. And if you do find the guide helpful at all, do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So we'll start off straight away. I mean, the GT duo are probably going to be the go-to leader if you want to build a full Power of Wishes team, because they have the Power of Wishes leader skill. They're STR, so obviously you have type advantage. And of course, as they start doing their super attacks, they build up damage reduction. They also have the standby with the revival. So even if you are finding the stage a little bit difficult, you can get these guys revival out. If you've taken a bunch of damage in turn 1 and they're on turn 2, you can just immediately use it. And if you actually do manage to get their revive off, chances are the Spirit Bomb is just going to end up one-shotting Beerus at that point, right? So these guys are probably the go-to unit. You know, they fit under the best option for leader because they have the entire category. I guess it's between them or the Boo duo, right, because of the extra 30%. So depending who you want to bring on the team, they are only giving the full 200 to Final Trump Card or Shadow Dragon Saga, but a lot of characters on Power of Wishes are on Final Trump Card as well anyway. So these guys are the main leader. Now there's some other leaders that could be better than them that don't have Power of Wishes, as they're straight up 170, but obviously these guys give more of a wide range of the units that you can bring, because you can bring anyone on the category. And then obviously the Boo duo are the same, but their 30% is for Connected Hope or Majin Buu Saga. So it all just depends on the units that you want to bring. Like there's a couple of units that we're going to talk about down the line that are from Majin Buu Saga, so obviously they would be better under this guy's lead, but these guys are very good as well. They're going to serve the same purpose as the GT duo outside of the revival, where they're going in slot 2, building up their attack. Obviously Extreme Z battles are not the most difficult events, so these guys, you know, their main weakness in the tough content is even after they've built up some defense with a few supers, they can still take a lot of damage from enemy super attacks, which won't really be the case in an Extreme Z battle. So these guys will obviously be very, very good as well. Now, the next unit that we'll talk about is Physical God Goku. Physical God Goku is one of the other units that is probably a go-to leader because he leads Pure Saiyans or Hybrid Saiyans, and then Power of Wishes is one of his 30%. So most of the units that we're going to talk about in this list are Pure Saiyans or Hybrid Saiyans. And then obviously because, you know, this is a team build based around Power of Wishes, they're all going to be on that 30%. So God Goku actually gives the 200% lead to most of the units that we're going to talk about. However, there are a couple of units that are very, very good who aren't on his leader skill. So it all just depends whether you want to use those units or not. But remember, this guy obviously has both the 8th anniversary LRs under his leader skill. He is a very, very strong unit himself, of course. So he's just going to be very, very strong in this event. It's probably, if you run him and both the 8-year LRs, you probably will sail through this event very, very quickly. So God Goku is definitely a go-to leader as well. Then we have the Go Bros. I thought we would put these guys a bit earlier because of their leader skill as well. Siblings Bond or Goku family. So obviously there's a lot of the Goku units and then even like Gohans and stuff that we'll mention later on that will fit under these leads. And then obviously Power of Wishes. These guys can be very, very strong. They are, of course, a slot 2 unit. They need to build up. As long as you have a Goku on the team or on the rotation, they're going to be doing a lot of damage. Like these guys, their EZA kind of flew under the radar a little bit, especially on global, because unfortunately with the most difficult content coming out from the worldwide celebration being against int bosses, these guys were struggling a little bit. But in this event, they should be very, very powerful and able to do a ton of damage. Unfortunately, their active skill, well, I mean, you can use it from turn 3, but you have to be at 59% or less HP, which, you know, I guess in the final stages, if you are finding it a bit tougher, you may be able to get this off. Or if you're somebody like me that grinds like way past stage 30, that will end up being useful later on. But for the most part, they're just going to be there for outputting the supers and doing a lot of damage. But their leader skill is very good as well, giving a full 170 to a fairly big range of units. So then we have the AGL Kai Goku from the anniversary. This is the only AGL unit that is in here. It's the one I mentioned at the very beginning. And the main reason is because his leader skill, Turtle School 200%. So if you build a team that is pretty much full Goku units, they're all going to be getting the 200% leader skill. And then obviously you can go from there. And this guy, very, very strong defensively. He's not going to be doing any damage, right, because of the 80% reduction. But not only is he strong defensively, he has the built-in heal. He has the survive KO attacks. He can nullify Ki Blast super attacks, which... Does Beerus's count as a Ki Blast? It should do, right? It does, yeah. So he can nullify Beerus's super attack as well. So that will obviously be very useful. The Spirit Bomb, kind of pointless because it doesn't do damage. And you can use it at 59% or less HP or turn 5. You won't usually see turn 5. But even if you do drop below 59% HP because of the 80% damage reduction, it's obviously not going to do that much damage. But he can be a good leader, good tank, good healer. So he's an option if you want to use him. Next up, we have Zamasu. So I thought I would talk about a couple of the extreme characters because there's not many extreme characters on Power of Wishes, but because this guy leads Realm of Gods, Worldwide Chaos, or Fused Fighters, you definitely can fit quite a few characters on here. Like God Goku obviously is on his leader skill, and this guy does a lot of damage. The only downside, of course, is he doesn't get his full buffs if you're fighting a Realm of Gods enemy, which Beerus obviously is. So, to be honest, I would probably steer away from the extreme version of the team. But depending on what units you have, like this guy might be the best leader that you can use. And you do have units like the Rose and Zamasu that you can use with him. The only downside is you've got units like the Int Rose that got his EZA during the Worldwide, who obviously isn't going to do any damage. Because of the 80% damage reduction to int and AGL units. So I'd probably stick to a more super based team anyway, but of course we have units like Trunks if you want to run like a Future Saga team, and his sub lead is super class as well, so technically you could run your strongest Future Saga characters that are on Power of Wishes and then just throw in any other super class Power of Wishes characters you have as well. Now in a short form event, Trunks is obviously not the best, but He does get a couple of defense raises if you can get his supers in his first form, and then when he transforms, he obviously is able to power up fairly quickly. He can still be useful on the team, right, even though it's not the most ideal scenario for him, so he's worth considering on the team as well, especially depending on the leaders that we're running. Like, he's a hybrid Saiyan, so he's on the 200% for God Goku. There's a few options where this guy could be very, very good. Then we have the Piccolo. So Piccolo, not so much as good for a leader, right? Superheroes or Battle of Wits. You probably can make a full Power of Wishes team, but Piccolo's just going to be one of those units that will be very, very good on the team. You can put him in slot 1, right? As long as you have a Bond of Master and Disciple character. He's getting the guard. He's building up by getting hit. He gives everybody else in the rotation that 2 extra key after he gets hit as well. He can do very good damage, and then of course if you do have a full superheroes rotation, you can use his giant form on turn 3, and then when it comes to an EZA, you're probably just GG at that point, right? Even if Beerus is still alive at the end of the giant form, he's not going to be able to super attack you, and then that turn is basically going to be the final turn, right? So Orange Piccolo, definitely a good unit, but he's one of the ones, as we mentioned, that he's not a pure Saiyan or a hybrid Saiyan, so he won't fit on God Goku's lead. I think God Goku's team is powerful enough that you don't, like, you know, you're not going to struggle because you can't use Piccolo. But if you do want to use him, he's going to be a very, very good unit. And then, of course, we also have the Kaioken Goku. His lead, All Out Struggle or Final Trump card. Again, you could make a leader skill out of that, but it is only the 4-key 150. He's just going to be a strong unit to put on the team, right? He's just an STR unit. He does big damage. That's basically all he does, right? Like, that's what he's there for. He's damage numbers on a stick. So in an EZA where he is effective and he's got type advantage, he's obviously going to be able to do lots and lots of damage. I don't really need to say much about this guy. He's just like, put him on the team and he'll do a bunch of damage. And in EZAs, you can't use same name units, but he is Goku Kaioken, so he doesn't take up the slot of like a base Goku or a Super Saiyan or God Goku or anything like that. So he's a very viable option. And of course, how could we talk about Power of Wishes without talking about one of the best units in the game, Bulma? She has type advantage. She's supporting the whole team. I mean, do I really need to say anything about this unit? She's already considered one of the best units in the game anyway, and here's an EZA where she's in the bonus category and has type advantage. So you can't run her on God Goku's team, but any other Power of Wishes build, she's like an auto-include character if you have her. And to be fair, she's good enough that for something like an EZA, which is not particularly hard anyway, you could probably just run her on God Goku's team off lead, and she's still going to be good, right? Because she's buffing the whole team. So she could actually still be perfectly usable on God Goku's team, even though she doesn't get the leader skill. I might actually do that on the stream and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, she's like a go-to unit if you have her. Then we have the Sword of Hope Trunks from the Worldwide. Time Travelers, it's not as easy to make a full Power of Wishes team, but he'll just be a solid unit on the team. You put him in slot 2, he does a bunch of damage. Again, like the Kaioken Goku, he's just going to be there to do damage. As he does the multiple supers, he builds up damage reduction, so he will be able to defend reasonably well as well, but he's just going to be there essentially to drop a ton of damage. You can't use his standby until turn 5, which is very unlikely to see again during an EZA, but he's just going to be there to do damage. He's got good links, so he'll be good on the team as well. Then we have Tech Gohan, the unit that refuses to age. You could technically even run him as a lead, right? Because he does lead Hybrid Saiyans. He has guard. He's greatly raising attack and defense, like infinite stack. What do I really need to say about this guy, right? He can just be on the team. He can be there, tank hits, build up, and be overall pretty good, right? So pretty much goes without saying that Gohan is always a decent include on the team. Then we have the STR Mai. So STR Mai is a very good unit for this because obviously Beerus doesn't do AoEs, which is her main weakness, because she gets basically all of her defense and damage reduction on super. She's got type advantage and she's supporting all super class allies. And then any Future Saga allies are getting extra support. So even if you're not running Future Saga allies at all, she's still giving that 30% support to everybody on the team. She's got type advantage, she's got damage reduction. Like, she's just a very, very solid unit to include on the build if you want a little bit of support from like a floating slot 3 unit. Then we have the STR Ultima Gohan. Obviously a great pick if you're running the Tech Gohan, but even if you're not, he does give all allies 50% defense, well, all superclass, right, which is primarily what you're going to be running. Any entrusted will characters also get 2 key and 30% attack. He has a high chance to guard, but that doesn't really matter in this event anyway, because he's got type advantage, so he's just a very, very solid unit. He can be there as a nice little floating unit that buffs everybody else's defense, will just make things a little bit easier for you overall if you don't have all of the top hard-hitting units to just go full damage build for this event. So Gohan can be very useful. And then the last one I wanted to throw in an honorable mention was for our boy 1000 Day Goku, for anybody who does have him. Obviously with the EZA, we're talking 2000 days, but he's got type advantage. We didn't really talk about any other base Gokus outside of that AGL Carnival one. And this guy, you know, he's got type advantage, he's got crit chance, he's a nuker, he heals when he picks up orbs. Healing is always nice for EZAs because you can't use items. So I thought I'd give this guy a bit of a shout out as an honorable mention here at the end as well. So going back to Power of Wishes, if we take a quick look, obviously we didn't really mention the AGL units. Prime Battle LR Goku would probably still be usable if you're lacking a Super Saiyan Goku on the team. Int units we didn't talk about because of the damage reduction. Roshi, of course, is a Power of Wishes character who has a revive. If you have a couple of Gokus on the team, that's all he needs, right? Turtle School allies. And he actually would also fit under the team build if you were using AGL Kai Goku, because he is a Turtle School character. So then you've got, like, when it comes to the TURs, again, you look at Extreme, like, we got these tech units. AGL's got the type damage reduction in terms of their damage. So does Int. So we don't exactly have a great pool of units to pick from here. Units like Rose you could obviously use, but you probably are going to want to go full super class here. None of the other tech units really stand out. Full power Super Saiyan 4 Goku's pretty decent, but there's no other like Saiyan Raw characters to run him with. And then you've got like Namek Goku could still be pretty good if you're not running a base Goku. Kaioken Goku's obviously not going to have the allies he needs for his full kit, but he can still do some decent damage. STR God Goku, if you're not running the physical God Goku, can still be pretty good. But yeah, that's really all I think for the top picks and honorable mentions. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. As I said at the beginning, if there's any units you think I missed or should have talked more about, why they would be good for this event, let us know down below in the comment section. And do let me know what will your team build be for the physical Beerus Extreme Z battle. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.